Behavioral Wealth Specialist at Mission Wealth. In this video, we will discuss 5 key behavioral finance concepts that come into play when caring for aging parents. When we step into the role of caregiving, we think we're making financial and logistical decisions. But in reality, we're navigating some of the most emotionally charged behavioral patterns of our lives. In this video, we'll walk through some of the behavioral biases that influence caregiving decisions, and we'll discuss how to work with them instead of being overwhelmed by them. First, let's start with something that every caregiver experiences, but few recognize. When caregiving first begins, we tend to underestimate the future emotional load, how tired, stressed, or stretched we'll feel later on. That's the empathy gap, our inability to imagine our future selves accurately. This often leads to delayed planning. We think it won't be that bad until suddenly it is. So what helps in these situations? To start, tools that make the future more vivid, like long-term care planning, multi-year cash flow projections, or caregiving apps that show the real time and cost involved. Taking the time to step back from overwhelming thoughts can also be helpful. It will allow you to reconnect with your values and will help reduce burnout and increase clarity. Omission bias shows up when doing nothing feels easier or morally safer than taking an action. For example, moving a parent into assisted living feels heavy, or updating estate documents feels intimidating. So families wait. In caregiving, tough conversations tend to get delayed if they feel emotionally risky. But waiting often creates the very crisis that is most feared: a sudden decline in health or a financial scramble. Here are some things that can be helpful in this scenario. Set implementation intentions. If this happens, then we do that. Turn intention into action. Create simple checklists or automated reminders to dramatically reduce the likelihood of letting important tasks slip. And on the financial side, this looks like scheduling annual estate reviews and running care facility scenarios before you need them. Next, we have mental accounting. Here is where family dynamics meet money. Many families subconsciously separate money into categories: my money, parents' money, care money, sibling money. These mental buckets feel logical, but they often lead to tension or bad financial decisions because caregiving rarely fits neatly into just one bucket. You might see a family paying out of pocket at high interest while a parent's well-structured accounts sit untouched, or siblings disagreeing on who should contribute what. In these instances, here are a few things that can be helpful. Reframing all resources as part of a coordinated family balance sheet. Creating shared financial dashboards to help everyone see the same picture. And establishing structured agreements like tax-efficient drawdown strategies. These can all eliminate feelings of inequity and resentment. And overall, this shifts the narrative from who's paying to how do we steward our family's resources wisely. Regret aversion comes into play because care decisions come with a lot of emotional weight. Did we choose the right facility? Should we have sold this house earlier? To avoid future regret, families often get stuck, overanalyzing, or defaulting to the safest looking option instead of the best option. Here is what can be helpful. First, regret forecasting. Actually imagining the regret that comes from not acting. This can help break what we call analysis paralysis. Next, examining the likelihood of negative outcomes to reduce catastrophic thinking, really exploring those worst case scenarios. And lastly, using scenario modeling or decision matrices to visually compare options, bringing logic to emotionally overwhelming choices. Overall, when you reduce the emotional weight, clarity increases. Finally, the pull of keeping things as they are, status quo bias. This is the tendency to avoid making changes, even when a parent's living situation is unsafe, even when a care plan is outdated, and even when finances need organization. In this way, the emotional cost of change can keep families frozen. What is helpful in navigating this dynamic is making small structural tweaks. This will often make big decisions feel easier. Here are a few examples. Have pre-selected defaults for caregiving, like vetted providers, or pre-drafted transition plans. These help to reduce friction and allow proactivity. Create shared documents that outline next steps, making things easier and more clear. And finally, make time for values-based conversations. These help families clarify that safety and dignity often outweigh short-term comfort. Caring for aging parents isn't just a financial challenge. It's a behavioral and emotional journey. When we understand the behavioral biases that may come into play, we make clearer, kinder, and more proactive decisions. If you're navigating this stage of life, these insights can help you plan ahead, reduce conflict, and create a path that supports both your parents and your own well-being. Your wealth advisor at Mission Wealth can be a partner in this journey, helping you separate emotional reactions from the practical decisions you need to make, and supporting you in moving forward with more clarity. Thank you for your time today. I'm Cohen Taylor, Behavioral Wealth Specialist at Mission Wealth.